Guys, I think we can admit, gaming is in a weird-ass place right now. I mean, the title of AAA game used to mean something. It used to really mean something when you heard AAA game. Now, that shit's almost like a turnoff, bro. I legit have people in my comments saying as soon as they hear it's a AAA game, they're uninterested. We've almost seen like a flip from gaming studios. We've had games like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That was a AAA game, bro. It was ass. Then we had games like Skull and Bones. Can you believe Ubisoft said that was the first ever quadruple A game? They spent how many years trying to make that game? I don't even remember. 11 years! 11 years to make the first ever quadruple A game. That shit was so ass. And then on the other hand, we've had AA games completely take off this year. Helldivers 2 went absolutely stupid. It's not a new game, but Sifu goes crazy. It Takes Two is another super popular AA game. And don't even get me started on the indie games. What? Bro, Lethal Company? Don't even get me started. My For You page was nothing but Lethal Company videos for like a month or two straight, dog. Stardew Valley is one that people always like to talk about. Cuphead. It just seems like what's happening to gaming is what happens to every industry. Greed overtakes entertainment. As gaming has gotten more popular and more commercialized, the really big studios that used to put out some really good work, they've gotten lazy and they started putting out bullshit. I wanted to check out this video called The Current State of AAA Gaming, because I'm really curious what other people's perspective on this has been.
I'm wanting to give a perspective of how I see the current state of modern gaming as a casual gaming enthusiast.
Alright, bet.
I'm a married man with a full-time job, and I'm dedicated to a lot of various other commitments in my life. While gaming is definitely my favorite hobby, I don't always have the time to enjoy it. There are times when I'll go weeks without touching a game, and then there are stretches where I can squeeze in maybe a few hours every day.
Bro.
This is the reality for many of us, trying to balance work, life, and the hobby we love, gaming.
This is something that gets so overlooked in today's gaming culture as well. In this culture of esports, content creation, everybody trying to be a damn sweat, the weekend warriors, bro, the people that work 9 to 5s, I feel bad for y'all. You can't even enjoy shit like Call of Duty anymore, bro, because you're going to get online on a Friday night, and you're going to get smacked until 9:30 when you get tired, and then you're going to go to bed.
I'm not one of those hardcore streamers or YouTubers who can dedicate countless hours year-round to gaming, but I do enjoy watching other content creators who live and breathe this stuff.
I'm glued to a chair!
What
That's
the hell?
not quite my reality though, and I know I'm not alone in this. So in this video, I want to represent the casual gamers out there, people like me who balance a love for gaming with everything else going on in their life. I want to dive into the current state of AAA gaming.
Let's hear it. It's getting
If
rough.
you do a quick Google search, you'll find that AAA games are defined as high-budget, high-profile titles typically produced and distributed by major, well-known publishers. But for me, as someone in my mid-20s who grew up playing some truly incredible games from these big developers, AAA used to mean something more. It stood for trust, originality, and most importantly, innovation.
I think one of the biggest problems we're running into with AAA games now, it seems like so many developers and studios are really focused on graphical improvements when we've already been at like damn near peak graphics for so long. I'm not gonna say peak graphics because the PS5 Pro just came out, right? And you can see obviously the games look even crispier, but it's always gameplay over graphics. I feel like that's one of the main reasons why we see companies like Rockstar. They used to make so many games in a decade. Now, they drop like 2 games every decade, bro. Because every game they drop nowadays has to be this massive real-life looking type shit. Like, bro, that's cool. I love Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm gonna love GTA 6. But shit, bro, give me Bully 2. That doesn't have to look like real life. It just has to be fun.
I very quickly discovered Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty Modern Warfare at a local games shop. I was completely hooked. It probably wasn't the best for me as I was 9 years old at the time, but I fell in love with these games.
That's how we all started, though.
Most kids who want to spend their summer vacation outside having fun, all I wanted to do was stay inside and play these amazing titles on my dad's MacBook, which he had installed Windows on just so I could play.
Dude, that shit is so real, I'm not gonna lie. I used to go outside every day. Summer, winter, it didn't even matter, bro. I was outside riding bikes with my friends. Then I discovered video games. That shit was a wrap, bro.
They were groundbreaking. From that point on, I had complete trust in AAA developers and publishers, and rightfully so. I'd even look for the Ubisoft, Activision, Sega, Blizzard, or EA logos on game covers or in magazines, knowing that they are a sign of quality. Those logos.
Oh my god! Him saying Ubisoft back then is a sign of quality is crazy. Oh, how far they've fallen. Oh, how the turntables turned. The way life has changed is crazy, bro.
Those logos were like a seal of approval, a way to gauge whether I was making a good decision when getting hyped for or even picking a game. Do you remember that feeling of seeing those logos pop up when loading a game?
Ugh.
That rush of excitement, knowing you were about to dive into one of the best gaming experiences of your life. I do. But unfortunately, over the years, something has been happening, and it didn't happen overnight. It's been a slow, gradual change, like watching someone age or noticing yourself slowly gaining weight. It's happening right in front of us, but we don't fully grasp how much things have changed until one day we look in the mirror, or even at an old photo, and the difference is startling. Over the years, the trust...
Bro, to this day, Anthem is one of the biggest fumbles in gaming that I've ever witnessed, dog. This game could have been that shit. This was basically Iron Man multiplayer, bro. How EA fumbled this is beyond me. Actually, it's not beyond me. There wasn't enough content. They simply didn't put the effort in that there needed to be, which is the case with a lot of these companies nowadays, man. I mean, shit, Ubisoft reskins and puts out the same exact game every like 3 or 4 months and acts like it's a brand new thing.
Over the years, the trust, originality, and innovation that once defined AAA companies has been slowly fading. Seeing logos from developers I used to admire now fills me with skepticism, even a strong urge to avoid their games. What I find surprising is how patient and forgiving gamers have been towards AAA companies for so long. A great example of this has been the Battlefield franchise, particularly with the launch of Battlefield 5 in November 2018. A lot of mixed and negative reactions despite being part of a well-loved, long-standing series of games.
Dude, the way Battlefield fell from grace is absolutely crazy. I really thought the 2049 or 2047 or whatever the fuck that new game was, I really thought that game was about to be it from the trailer, bro. Then the game dropped. There wasn't even a fucking scoreboard, bro. How the fuck are you supposed to play a multiplayer shooter and no scoreboard? No one's keeping track of the score?
You'll probably notice similar patterns with other major AAA companies and their once revered franchises. Battlefield 5 faced backlash after its reveal trailer, primarily due to the perceived historical inaccuracies. The inclusion of female soldiers in a World War II game led some fans to criticize the game as unrealistic, sparking debate over...
Who would have thought? That shit's actually crazy now. If you thought the Battlefield 5 criticism was bad because there was women in that era of war, dude, y'all wouldn't believe how far we've come now. Motherfuckers see a woman soldier in Warhammer 40k, all of a sudden that game is woke. I almost feel like we've gone too far with that type of criticism, though. Every game now that has a little bit of this is completely woke now and it's completely written off by a whole group of people. I do think in some ways gamers are now a little bit like too apprehensive towards stuff like that, but I do remember when people were tweaking about Battlefield 5. That's something I'm curious what y'all think about, though.
The inclusion of female soldiers in a World War II game led some fans to criticize the game as unrealistic, sparking debate over political correctness. DICE, the developer, responded by standing firm on their creative choices, which only escalated the controversy. Further fueling the fire, a DICE executive famously responded to criticism with, "If you don't like it, don't buy it."
That's right.
Does this remind you of anything?
Cooked.
This alone caused a portion of the fan base to not buy into Battlefield 5, including myself. The game's marketing was seen as completely unfocused. The reveal trailer with this chaotic and almost cartoonish tone confused fans about whether this game was a serious, historically themed World War II shooter. This lack of clear direction left many of us unsure of what to expect from Battlefield 5. Upon release, Battlefield 5 felt incomplete, missing key features such as the promised Firestorm Battle Royale mode and Tides of War live service content, which were delayed. Other promised features like the Combined Arms co-op mode were also absent at launch, making the game feel quite bare bones.
Yeah, it was empty as hell.
Like Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4.
Dude, Battlefield 4 was peak Battlefield. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. That shit had everything. I do remember when 5 came out and I was like, this shit ain't it, dog. This ain't Battlefield anymore. Now, Battlefield has just completely lost its way. That shit, it's not even Battlefield anymore, I'm not gonna lie.
When we finally got these features, they were apparently not worth the wait. Now this is what it is. And we've seen many glorious redemption stories from poor launches over the years. So I'll give it to DICE that Battlefield 5 is a decent enough game to play now.
True.
But upon launch, it disappointed quite a lot of us.
The cyberpunk effect.
And in line with my topic, Battlefield 5's launch was plagued by controversy, miscommunication, missing features, and technical problems, leading to a mixed reception and pretty disappointing sales.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's the issue with a lot of games nowadays as well. We've gotten to a point now where the advertising is the biggest priority. These companies just want you to pay for the game. They don't really care what happens after that. As long as they can make the game look cool enough to get you in the door spending your money, it doesn't even matter after that. And that's one of the biggest problems as well.
It can happen to any game, and there are some awesome redemption stories, like I said before.
Cyberpunk.
But there's not supposed to be a pattern. This is not supposed to happen to every single game on what was once a beloved IP from a company that is known for making incredible games in the past. If you're going downhill, if you are on track to death, survival instinct is supposed to kick in and you're supposed to turn around and go the other way.
Yep.
Now, in line with what I've been talking about with Battlefield, I want you to think back and see if you can spot any of these trends with other IPs from AAA developers over the years.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'll go ahead and give it to you before he even says it. Mass Effect, Watch Dogs, Call of Duty, Battlefield, any Star Wars game besides the Jedi games, those are pretty good. Mortal Kombat, that shit is ass now. Halo, oh my god, Halo! They done massacred my boy Halo, bro. It's over. Halo is
Take Anthem by the one and only BioWare. The studio once celebrated for the very successful Mass Effect and Dragon Age franchises.
Yep.
Anthem launched with very confusing marketing, a lack of in-game content,
Yup.
pretty terrible technical issues that quickly drove players away.
God.
If I remember correctly, players didn't even come to it because of how bad the gameplay looked compared to the launch trailer or the gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
Mass Effect Andromeda is another prime example of this. Plagued by terrible
I knew it.
animations, off-putting character design, and a lackluster storyline that severely damaged the franchise's reputation.
Shit was
Then
ass.
there's Assassin's Creed Unity, which was infamous for its buggy and nearly
How did I miss Assassin's Creed, y'all? How did I miss Assassin's Creed? Assassin's Creed is a curious case because a lot of people actually still like the newer Assassin's Creeds. There's a lot of newer games that people will defend to their dying breaths, bro. But at the end of the day, Assassin's Creed is a shell of what it used to be. It's not the same. It's funny because Unity did get hated on a lot, but Assassin's Creed has gotten so bad that people look back at Unity like, oh, that shit was gas. Unity was fire. That's what people say now. And Unity, I don't think Unity was horrible, but at launch, the quality was not what it needed to be.
which was infamous for its buggy and nearly unplayable launch. As for Halo, and I don't really want to dive deep into this, but it saddens me how 343 Industries have mishandled the series.
It's over.
Through ego, greed, and short-sightedness.
It's
For
over.
me, one of the sad ones was the decline of Bethesda with Fallout 76, which released in a very broken and unfinished state. It was
Yep.
missing NPCs, had constant bugs, and very poor performance. It left us fans quite frustrated with how Bethesda handled such a beloved series.
Yeah.
Even after AAA companies have tarnished the reputations of so many once beloved IPs, we as casual gamers still find ourselves getting hyped over their new announcements. Well, at least many of us did until recently.
Perhaps you should have let go also.
I vividly
Yo.
remember after watching the Battlefield 2042 trailer in 2021 that I told my friend that this Battlefield is it. This is where
Exactly, bro. That's what I just said. The trailer for this game had me like, oh shit, Battlefield is back. It's all about the advertising now. If they can get you in the door, as long as they get you spending the money to buy the game, they'll fuck around and drop the game with no scoreboard, bro. That's how little they care now.
this is where DICE and EA will redeem themselves. They have to.
Yep.
Despite the numerous missteps and disappointments I experienced between Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042, myself and a lot of gamers still maintained our patience and trust, believing that a AAA company, DICE, would finally deliver, that AAA companies could still be trusted. Unfortunately, the game fell short.
Yep.
My friend and I ended up refunding Battlefield 2042 within
Damn.
just 10 minutes of playing it.
10 minutes is
I'm focusing on
crazy.
Battlefield mainly because it has been my go-to franchise in the past. I loved it. I was an OG Battlefield 2 player. I was unfortunately too young when Battlefield 1942 came out, but I thoroughly enjoyed the Battlefield 2 experience. Bad Company 1 and 2 were absolute gems, introducing the destruction mechanic that truly set Battlefield apart from
Yep.
other FPS games.
Let me tell you guys, Bad Company was a super fun game, but Battlefield 3, brother, word to my dad, word to my mother, word to everything. I don't know if I'll ever have another FPS experience like Battlefield 3. I was a diehard Call of Duty fan, bro. I was young as hell when the game came out. I was playing Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, all back to back. Then Battlefield 3 came out. Bro, I had never experienced a game where the buildings would just blow the fuck up. I could just get into a jet, I could get into a tank, I could get into a Jeep. Bruh. God, I missed that game, bro. And then 4 was the same thing, but just better. It was literally just a bigger scale and a better game. I can't do this right now, bro. It's gonna piss me off.
Was introducing the destruction mechanic
Yep.
that truly set Battlefield apart from other FPS games. I remember growing up in South Africa at Battlefield 3, which I played on 27 to 28 FPS. I think I clocked over
Damn.
900 hours playing like that. on my old PC.
That's
I love
crazy.
that game so much. I'm sure many of you who are old enough can relate to this experience with other beloved franchises. Maybe you were a die-hard Halo fan, or you couldn't wait to see what Ubisoft would deliver.
Far Cry. I forgot about Far Cry. You want to talk about games that lost their way? He just showed Far Cry Classic. Get the fuck out of here, bro. What the hell even is Far Cry now, bro? That shit is not the same.
After the experience of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, only to find disappointment year after year. The state of the majority of AAA gaming is devastating. There are only a few exceptions, companies that seem to still have their fans' best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Even among these, cracks and doubts remain.
Yeah.
Rockstar Games and From Software are notable exceptions, but today I want to focus on what I grew up defending, admiring, and loving. Ubisoft.
Ooh.
I used to brag to my friends about how much I loved Ubisoft.
For anybody on here that follows my TikTok, you know the absolute disdain, the pure hatred that I have for Ubisoft at this point. Because I feel the exact same way that he's saying in this video. I used to love Ubisoft. When I saw a Ubisoft game, I knew they were cooking. That shit was going to cook. Ubisoft used to be a name of quality, a brand you could trust. If Ubisoft logo was on the game, I was like, oh shit, that's an instant cop. Now? Bro, if I see Ubisoft made the game, I'm running in the opposite direction. Ubisoft actually invited me out to play Star Wars Outlaws early and Assassin's Creed Shadows early. Now, I'm super thankful for that opportunity. I've been playing Ubisoft games all my life, so that was really cool. But bro, those games were ass. Star Wars Outlaws is just pure dog shit. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, man. I've said it on TikTok. I'm not afraid to say it here. Ubisoft, if you hate me for that, I'm sorry, bro. The game was dog shit. The Assassin's Creed Shadows preview wasn't ass, but it also didn't impress me. It had that same flat graphical tone that every recent Ubisoft game has had. It just looks dull, it looks boring, it looks lifeless. And to be completely honest with you guys, it looked like it needed a lot more polishing as well. I was pretty excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I was like, oh shit, they're going to Japan, let's go. Then I got to the preview event, saw the early gameplay, and I was like, it straight up ruined my excitement for the game, bro. How does a preview event that you get invited out to ruin your excitement for the game, bro? How? Only Ubisoft.
I used to brag to my friends about how much I loved Ubisoft and their games, urging them to join me in this passion. But now I find myself checking the news and stock prices to see if they finally pulled the plug on their live support. It's taking me to this place where I want to see Ubisoft crumble and go bankrupt. They've made me feel stupid for supporting them.
Deadass.
Treating casual gamers like we're not in the know somehow, or we live under a rock. Usually someone like me, just a casual gamer, doesn't pick up on the behind-the-scenes politics of game companies. I'm just living my life, playing whatever games I think look cool and enjoyable, but locking me out of gaming content at launch with superficial pricing,
Yup.
throwing
Cook 'em.
innovation out the window,
Cook 'em.
flooding your YouTube promotional
Cook
videos
'em.
with obvious bot comments and likes.
If you look at every single positive comment, they are within 4.9 to 5.1 thousand likes. And every single one of them is being made by an individual with a first name, last name, number combination.
What? I never realized Ubisoft was botting their YouTube videos like that. That's crazy. Hey, you know what's really crazy, man? Far Cry used to be like my favorite gaming franchise. I played Far Cry 3. I've beaten that game over 10 times, bro. I beat Far Cry 3 over 10 times, dog. There's not a single Ubisoft game nowadays that I care to beat one time, bro. I played Star Wars Outlaws for like 3-4 hours. I couldn't take that shit anymore, bro.
It's disheartening to watch a company that once felt like a beacon of creativity and passion turn into what seems like a cash grab machine. Remember when Ubisoft used to take risks, crafting immersive worlds filled with depth and rich storytelling? Games like Prince of Persia and Splinter Cell felt innovative, and they challenged the norms of gaming. Now it feels like they're just recycling formulas,
Yep.
relying on the same IPs or brands year after year,
Yep,
all the while trying
exactly.
to squeeze more and more money out of their fans. And it's not just the content that's lacking, it's the connection. I remember the excitement of discovering new worlds and characters that felt alive and engaging. But now it seems like the focus is solely on monetization strategies,
Yes.
season passes, microtransactions, and limited time events that prioritize profit over player experience. The joy of gaming has been overshadowed by this relentless push for profit.
That's exactly what I said at the beginning of this video, bro. It's no longer about entertainment. It's no longer for the love of the game. It's no longer about providing a good, unique gaming experience. It's just about the money. like everything always comes to, man. The money.
The joy of gaming has been overshadowed by this relentless push for profit. Now, I know this is being said all over YouTube. I've come across videos of this before, but I am coming to you as a casual gamer. A lot of us are only discovering this in the last few months. Some of us maybe in the last few years. Some of us even today on this video, we're discovering these things. The thing that I find crazy is with the grace that we show these companies, we still tend to trust their trailers and their adverts. You guys have promised so much through your gameplay trailers, your cinematic trailers, all of that, that has just not been there. I think the first case of this, where I truly experienced it, was the first trailer that came out for The Division. I remember looking at this thinking this is truly a next-gen experience. I am looking forward to this. This is going to be great. And then actually watching gameplay footage after it.
Hell
no.
no.
I find strange is over the years, because we're so used to this as gamers, we have normalized this. We expect it. We watch a gameplay trailer and we're like, okay, I know it's going to be worse on launch, but it is what it is. We just accept it. After all of this, for quite a while, I believe that Ubisoft had the potential to return to its roots, to listen to us fans and reignite that spark of creativity. The thing that drove this thought was, don't they want to make money? Are they not tired of losing money?
I will say it's gotten to the point now, and as a content creator, I can really tell you this. Trust in big gaming studios and companies is at an all-time low, bro. I will talk about a game that's about to come out and people will be like, nah, bro. Like, nah. People are not nearly as excited about game unless it's like Rockstar Games, From Software. Like, I'm telling you, any Ubisoft game, their reputation's in the straight gutter, bro. In the gulag. Anything Ubisoft, people do not want to hear it, bro. They don't care. They know it's going to be ass. Gamers are finally at the point now where they're fed up with this shit. That's one thing I will say to gamers' credit. They're starting to see through the mirage a little bit now.
But apparently their idea of making money is very different. Everyone is trying to be the new Fortnite with their battle passes, with their DLCs, with their paid for content, their add-ons, especially on single player games, which makes no flipping sense. So I used to believe this. I definitely don't believe this anymore. I don't believe that there's actually a way for Ubisoft to come back. A wise, bold man once said,
I believe you cannot reason a person out of a position that they did not reason themselves into.
In this case, the person is a large AAA company. Greed, ego, and toxic positivity that permeates their messaging doesn't stem from reason. They come from a disconnection with the very players who once supported them. It's frustrating to see how these companies prioritize profits over passion. The decisions being made seem driven by a boardroom mentality rather than a genuine love for gaming. When the focus shifts to maximizing shareholder value instead of crafting meaningful experiences, the heart of what makes gaming special gets lost.
That is one of the biggest things ever, too. A big company that I have a lot of trust in is Insomniac Games. They make the Spider-Man games. Spider-Man PS4 is one of the best. It's probably the best Spider-Man game I've ever played in my life. Spider-Man 2 had all the hype, all the momentum to be one of the biggest games ever. And what happened? They had to please Sony. They had to please the shareholders. Sony rushed them to put the game out early so they could make a certain amount of money by a certain amount of time, which led them to cutting features, cutting combat, cutting all sorts of things, even cutting the story. The story was supposed to be longer and more fleshed out. You can feel it when you're playing that story, but Sony doesn't care. Sony does not care at all. And the players suffered and the game suffered. And now that sequel is nowhere near as it should have been with all the hype it had behind it.
Despite these frustrations, with the AAA landscape, I'm actually quite grateful for indie developers and smaller game studios.
Let them know.
This year, in my opinion, has been one of the best years for gaming that I've experienced in a long time.
Like I said,
for the first time in years, I actually find myself with multiple games on my Steam account that I really want to dive into, but I just don't have the time to play them all. Titles like Black Myth Wukong, Helldivers 2, Hell World, Shrouded, Once Human, Space Marine 2. I say that, but I actually finished the campaign because I enjoyed it so much. I think I finished it within 2 days, which is a lot for me. That's good for me.
It's a great game.
All these games really have captured my attention this year. They are innovative and original. Some of them not original, but they take what we've loved in the past and they've expanded on it with innovation, with passion, with obvious zeal for their gaming. Take Pal World, for example. Everyone loves Pokemon. People enjoy it. I never really got into it myself, but hearing the stories, watching the YouTube videos, everyone has been waiting for a Pokemon game like Pal World.
Like Pal World, and they won't fucking do it! What is wrong with Nintendo, bro? Why won't they just make a game where you're actually running around, fight? Like, they just won't do it. They won't do it. Pal World is the exact type of Pokemon game people have been dying for, and they refuse to make that damn Pokemon game, bro. And then Pal World makes the game, and Nintendo sues them for it. Get the hell out of here.
For me, Pal World scratches an itch that a lot of people have been dying to scratch for many years. And this is why Pal World has been successful. Why have you not made a game like this, Nintendo? Who knows? You don't like money, apparently. There's other games that I am also looking forward to playing, which I just don't have time for, like Deadlock, or even the DLC for Elden Ring. These games, plus many more, remind me of the creativity and passion that still exist in the gaming world, reigniting my excitement and hope for what is to come, but not from AAA games, AAA companies, or AAA IPs. In an ideal world, we will see the death of Ubisoft, of other big AAA companies eventually. And with this death, I hope that they are able to sell their IPs to other companies that are passionate about gaming. I would love to see Star Wars or Assassin's Creed in the hands of a company that cares about the fans.
The Star Wars Battlefront series getting handed to EA is one of the biggest fumbles also I've ever seen in gaming. Battlefront 2, they had all the tools to make that the best game ever, dude. Somehow, they fucked that up. They had the clones and the droids. They had the Empire and the Rebellion. They even had the Resistance and the First Order. They started off stupid with the whole loot box scandal, the pay-to-win type shit. Then they fixed it. They brought the game back. The game was gaining hype. It was gaining steam. It was gaining players. There was 2 of the most requested heroes. People were dying for more heroes in the game, 2 specifically. Ahsoka Tano and Ventress, right? They were about to drop 2 more heroes. Who did they drop instead? A pair of nuts, bro. They dropped BB-8 and BB-9E instead of Ahsoka and Ventress. Then, at the height of the game's comeback, they shut it down, and we will probably not ever see a Battlefront 3. Wallahi, brother. Another question I want to ask you guys. How responsible do you think Fortnite is for the way gaming is currently? I've seen a lot of people say Fortnite and games like Call of Duty have completely ruined gaming. Just completely ruined the way it is. I think one way or another we were heading towards what gaming is now anyway, but I definitely think games like Fortnite with a constant rotating shop that never ends, I do think games like that might have accelerated where we are now. And like he said, there are still companies putting in really good work. Santa Monica with God of War, Naughty Dog with the Last of Us series, CD Projekt Red with the Cyberpunk game. Even Cyberpunk was rushed though. That wasn't supposed to come out when it did come out. There was no way that game was ready. It was fucked up. But it's a lot better now. Now it's one of the best RPG games I've ever played. But the amount of BS and just nothing burgers we have to go through to finally get a good AAA game every once in a blue moon, it's insane, dog. I really do think that companies like Ubisoft are not going to last much longer like this. But hey, man, what do I know? I've only been playing video games for like 18 years. You guys let me know what you think, man. How do you feel about the modern state of gaming, especially AAA gaming? Do you still have hope? Are you gravitating towards more indie and AA games now? Have you kind of stopped playing games altogether? I'm really curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the state of gaming right now. Anyway, until my next video, it's your boy. Peace.
We been steady mob, yeah. Running routes, we mob, yeah. In a whip, we mob, yeah. Money straight up past, yeah. Talking shit gon' cost, yeah.